Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Muslim pilgrims have begun the annual Hajj in the holy city of Mecca as Saudi authorities try to prevent any outbreaks of coronavirus. The Hajj is one of the most important practices of Islam and an obligation for able-bodied Muslims at least once in their lifetime. It is usually one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, but this year attendance is being limited to 10,000 people. The disease has already infected more than 270,000 people in Saudi Arabia, placing it in the top 20 worst affected countries in the world. Vietnam has announced that every city and province in the country is now at risk of virus infection after evacuating almost 60,000 people from the city of Da Nang. State media reported new cases in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh and the Central Highlands. The country had previously been virus-free since the end of March. Australia has deployed emergency response teams, usually sent to disaster zones, to assist nursing homes in Melbourne. The city is at the centre of the current coronavirus outbreak in the state of Victoria. And Argentine authorities worried about occupation rates of intensive care unit beds in hospitals in Buenos Aires as the country posts a new record number of deaths. Over 160,000 cases of the virus have been recorded so far. Hackers linked to the Chinese government have infiltrated Vatican computer networks, including the Roman Catholic Church's representative based in Hong Kong. A US firm that tracks state-backed cyber attacks says the attacks began in May as the Vatican and China were expected to engage in talks. The report said the targets included communications between the Hong Kong diocese and the Vatican. The Chinese Foreign Ministry responded demanding sufficient evidence in face of the hacking accusations. Indian authorities have announced that floods caused by heavy monsoon rains in 2 of India's poorest states have displaced or affected 8 million people and killed at least 111. It comes at a time when coronavirus cases are swelling in the country, hitting hard the states of Bihar and Assam. According to the Indian Weather Service, the states received 15% and 47% more rainfall respectively when compared to a 50-year average. Preference Shiri, Zimbabwe's agriculture minister and retired military general accused of having played a key role in a notorious massacre in the early 80s, has died at the age of 65. Though President Emerson Mnangagwa didn't say how the agriculture minister died, domestic media reported the 65-year-old as succumbing to complications from COVID-19. Shiri was one of the military figures who helped plot the ousting of Robert Mugabe in 2017. He is accused of having massacred thousands of civilians in West Zimbabwe as the government sought to quell an insurgency in the 80s. Doctors say that 7 babies who were stillborn at Harare Hospital in Zimbabwe died after urgent treatment was delayed because of staffing issues. Nurses are on strike nationwide because of a lack of personal protective equipment, meaning maternity wards are often overwhelmed. One doctor said Monday's deaths were the tip of the iceberg. It's alleged that multi-million-dollar contracts were awarded to buy supplies at inflated prices. The health minister has been sacked over those allegations. Bolivians have marched on the streets of the capital La Paz to protest against lockdown measures in one of Latin America's poorest countries. Protesters burned an effigy of interim President Jeanine Áñez during the demonstration that calls on authorities to do more to support employment and reactivate the economy. Bolivia's economy is expected to slip into recession this year, largely as a result of the pandemic. With elections expected later in the year, some fear this could create political instability in the country. 2 people in China are lucky to be alive after they were swallowed by a sinkhole. Surveillance footage captured the moment when 2 pedestrians were walking on the pavement next to a main road before the footpath caved in. Both survived after being rescued by local firefighters and sent to hospital, and the road in Chongqing was sealed off. And finally, divers have hurled themselves from a 24-metre-high Ottoman-era bridge in the Bosnian town of Mostar, staging a centuries-old contest. The event was naturally without visitors this year due to COVID-19 restrictions. Mostar is famous for the high dive competition at its old bridge, which was rebuilt in 2004 after it was destroyed by Bosnian Croat artillery during the Bosnian War in the 1990s, and it's become a symbol of reconciliation between Bosniaks and Bosnian Croats. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.